temps.
Joining us now is a speaking and presentation master, Lauren Ferraro. Welcome, Lauren.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, we're pretty good. We don't specifically cover news here, but the political race in the U.S. and even our own not-so-recent election had people glued to their TV sets, and you're saying both Trudeau and Trump show similarities. But hopefully,
oh
no! But hopefully,
Did everybody just turn their dials down?
Yes.
Did everybody stay with us? Everyone, stay with us.
But hopefully not with the latest Trumpism.
Yes. Are you talking about the baby or the Second Amendment? Or, I mean, we could list and list.
That's a long list.
Yeah, I mean,
which one?
The latest one is that Barack Obama has founded ISIS. Not caused it, but founded it.
I thought Hillary found ISIS,
Well,
but
we're
it's
just
we're not sure what he's aiming at. I would say that's a tactic. There's a tendency for him to, whether it's a fact or not, to just blurt it out, and that's actually part of persuasive speaking. He doesn't need to. You can fact check it. He's done many times where he just says something and his shoulders go up and his hands go out and he goes, I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that. You would not see Trudeau do that at all. So they have a lot of differences, obviously, but they do have a lot of similarities in regards to crafting a speech, knowing how to present body language wise. They are very similar because there are techniques that draw an audience in, no matter who the audience is.
Let me ask you, are these techniques learned, do you think, or are these just manifestations of certain very specific personalities?
That's a great question. I think people are naturally so if someone comes to me and I say, sir or madam, you're great. I don't see anything. I'm drawn into what you're saying. You are naturally a very gifted speaker. But it's not to say that they can't work on a few things, but people naturally can just gesture without being stiff. People have a natural, beautiful cadence, a poetic delivery. But some people know you have to learn to unstiffen your shoulders. You have to learn to gesture naturally. It has to be taught.
And you talk about there's pregnant pauses, different inflections in tone, and making sure that people get the point, taking those breaths.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course. Now, if we read a lot of books and watch a lot of videos, a lot of times it says we always have to pause. We always have to watch our pace. Don't speak so fast.
Barack Obama does that a lot. He does
pauses
the pause
pauses a lot. Rules of three. He has the warm, fuzzy. We actually call it the element. Trudeau loves the warm, fuzzy element. Trump, not so much. We thought I'm going on a tangent here for a sec. We thought for a minute with the baby comment that I thought, they're trying to get him to have some empathy. They're trying to get him to have a human quality, which I wanted in his final speech at the RNC. But then he kind of ruined it by saying, no, I want the baby gone. We thought he was having a moment there. But just because you read or you hear that you have to pause or you have to, let a statement land, doesn't mean that works for you. So I will tell people, no, you're pausing and it's not landing. That actually works better if it's a nice, fluid statement. That's more effective if you don't pause anywhere in that sentence. Michelle Obama is very good at that. She has a current underneath her. She has a poetry underneath her. That's a current, and that's what we love. It crescendos, it has a climax, and we're with her. We're spellbound. It's like a piece of music. It's like your favorite song.
Some people say she was one of the best speakers ever. And do you think that she was trained? Or is that just part of her persona?
It could be a bit of both. She could just naturally have the gift of being able to stand up, look around the room and share her story. But there's definitely a training involved. It's not to say that there aren't things that you can't tweak or work on something. Everyone has a coach behind them, I would say, the majority.
If Trump is the unofficial leader of the anti-intellectual movement in America, and you're talking about everything going to a more conversational tone, could that be part of what is making him appealing to so many voters?
It's very much what is making him appealing. He represents chit-chat. He represents what I call headline conversation, where you say, hey, did you hear about the
Twitter talk?
And you can't go any further. Twitter talk. Yes. Our conversations are 140 characters long at the bar. So someone will say, hey, did you hear about and they can't go any further than the headline. Well, what's the implication of that? Someone said this about Hillary. Well, what does that mean? Where did that come from? Do you have anything else besides just reading a tweet or just reading the headline? And but because that's so popular, that's why it works. It's a way of connecting with us. It's a way of showing empathy. Trump speaks in short little 3-word sentences. Oh, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? We're going to build a wall. Da, 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 da. There is an absolute rhythm to that, and we're drawn to it.
So, Lauren, would this have appealed to the electorate 20 years ago? Or is this just a today thing?
I think this is a today thing. At least it's in the forefront. There could have been people, way back when, but they just weren't as popular. But it's definitely a thing now because we're tired of jargon and we're much more savvy. We know what's going on. So instead of just talking and not really saying anything, we're talking in a more conversational way, but still not really saying anything. Because is he saying anything? Not really.
Well, but that's how I feel about Justin Trudeau. I don't feel he doesn't actually say anything.
So this is where they're similar. They're both trying to not be the politician. They're both trying to not be or to be the everyman. But he will absolutely not insult. Doesn't have dings at people. He will answer in a full sentence. He ums and ahs a lot. There are reasons why people and ah. I think for him, it's because he has multiple answers in his head and he's trying to craft what he wants to say because he speaks off the cuff. He prides himself on speaking off the cuff, and that's why he ums and ahs so often. But yes, he doesn't say very much either. So you have someone who's more choppy, conversational, and someone who prides themselves on being educated and informed. But are they saying anything?
Well, with Trump, it's almost like he is breaking every rule to just come out with stuff with no proof, and it's antagonistic and it's nasty sometimes, and people eat it up. Is it just because of bravado? Does that get you through that?
Yes. I read something that it said Trump said something and it was factually incorrect.
Surprise.
He said something. You could have a list. And then they said a Trump voter would say, oh, well, he's allowed to be wrong. He's allowed to change his mind. He's allowed to. There's an excuse for someone you're supporting. So are you supporting someone based on intelligibility, based on intellect? Or are you supporting someone just because you've always supported them?
I can never excuse the fact that Donald Trump said, if Ivanka wasn't his daughter, he would likely be dating her. I can't get past that one.
I agree. The one that I can't get past is if she were assaulted in a workplace, she would just have to find a new place to work.
Yeah, that too. Okay.
Should we go around the room? Who else has one that they can't get past?
And yet he's forgiven for all sins.
And that's what I'm saying. Yet, well, he's allowed to. It's this. There's a charisma. There's a charm. We're drawn into this person who is telling it like it is, whether it's factual or not. Oh, well, he was wrong. We're allowed to be wrong. People, there's excuses because we have a hero. We excuse people that we love and we care about. Oh, they were having a bad day, et cetera, et cetera. We do that, and we're seeing this though on the world stage.
Okay, this isn't speaking, but it seems all Trudeau has to do is take his shirt off, and he's front page news everywhere,
and come out from a cave. Is that what it was? Onto the
all of the elements.
I wrote. I didn't write it. I saw something where they said he's become very statesmanlike, very very GQ, and that's maybe him as well, trying to rise to the occasion. But I think that's just. I don't think he's walking around shirtless on purpose, but he definitely prides himself, and we've seen this in England numerous times where people changing their accents, taking their ties up, rolling up their sleeves. That is where Trudeau tries to be the everyman by rolling things up, taking off the jacket. He doesn't sabotage his language, though. He doesn't do that. In England, you'll change your accent, things like that.
Absolutely, darling. Now, do tell our listeners where they can get in touch with you before we have to go to commercial break.
You can enter my site at laurenferraro.ca. At laurenferraro.ca.
laurenferraro.ca.
And can you train anybody for the new age politics?
Anyone can learn. Anyone can learn how to present, how to speak with grace, intelligibility. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Lauren. When we come back, another variation in the convenience revolution involving personal chefs vying for your taste buds. This is What She Said on the Jewel Radio Network. Stay with us.